Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk Fate Grand Order. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Oh my god.
And with me as always is Lucky. Today he is 5% stronger, 5% crazier, and 5% fuller.
That's 15%, y'all. I hope everyone is enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka 'twas the night before maintenance, and all throughout the land, many people were waiting, a few of them quite mad. Credit cards were ready, Saint Courts in hand, for JP players were eager for Saber Astolfo to land. And while we here at ST Omega like to bring you the latest in FGO related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for both the JP and EM version of the game, so anyone not wanting spoilers should fly away on their gunbrella.
Yeah. So, there's gonna be a lot of jokes to a lot of things in today's episode.
Mm-hmm.
Because how can we not?
It's a thing.
Yeah, we've got a certain irreverent style, but also there's a lot of activity.
Yes,
over
there
the past
is.
few days.
Mm-hmm.
But, alright, we're far enough in. I will now remind everybody that this episode is brought to you by our sponsors, like Ahaka Comics, Qua, Jeremy Vasquez, Kylie Den, Nestor Flores, Sodason0424, and VideoGamer75. And if you like what we do and want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can access episodes early and lots of other goodies that would really help us out. Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Ooh, that's a big chunky click.
Mm-hmm.
It's got, like, free spikes in there.
Ooh.
Alrighty, well, so, we're in the show, we're doing the thing. We got lots of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
It's been a very news-heavy, very discussion-y week. In fact, some people have been unable to do anything but discuss for long periods of time.
Much to my irritation. Lots of dramatic sighing.
Yeah, well, people get a little crazy.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, some people, when they first, we had this about when, just funny enough, last week when everyone was talking about, oh my god, MP subs. You know, everyone has their knee-jerk reaction, want to go talk about it, and doesn't think about maybe, everyone else before them has had the exact same reaction.
I think I want to add rule 0.5 to the Discord server rules, which is scroll up at least one page length before you post anything. just double check. But yeah, so let's go ahead and really quick jump through our pro tips, and then we'll get into our show proper with all kinds of news and things.
Yeah.
先輩、起きてください。
That's right, everybody. Welcome back to Wake the Fuck Up Senpai, regular segment for pro tips. I didn't really think of a real pro tip today. I just want to remind everybody, because patience is a virtue, that Salem main quests are time-locked. The final ones don't unlock until the 5th. So that's 3 days after the event starts. Well, the event drops, I guess, because it's,
You know, the more I think about it, honestly, I don't think the time lock is actually going to bug me that much, because I'm not someone who, I start immediately, but I don't, power through the entire story in one go,
No, you're not. People. I know there's some people who like to just take that time and just blitz the whole thing all at once.
Yeah.
And if you want to do that, you can wait until after the 5th and they're all unlocked, but I think with this story, the intent was they're experimenting with, but what if you couldn't for, 3 days? Literally. There's going to be some interesting stuff with Salem. We'll talk more about that later, but that's just our pro tip. Reminder to everybody, Don't freak out. Don't be in our Discord constantly asking when the next main quest unlock is. Just chill out. With that out of the way, we can go ahead and jump right into Records from the Throne, our regular achievement topic.
I'll start this one off. I've been, throwing tickets periodically throughout the Thanksgiving event. Mm-hmm. And on MHX Day, I threw 2 tickets, and boom, MHX. Yay. Also, Kato Danzo's smile is protected. It's good times.
Yeah. So hey, speaking of Thanksgiving tickets, so, I think I mentioned this last week, I spent 5 tickets on Oki today, fuck all. But on Da Vinci Day rolled around, and I said I was gonna spend at least 10. I spent 14. And I attained X1 Da Vinci and a Karna for my trouble. Karna was literally the first pull. I throw the first ticket, I look away, I look back, there's a fucking Karna on my screen, I'm like, what?
Lucky got mad at that and, bought an 80-pack and got dick all. So I was all like, why'd I do that? I shouldn't have done that.
No, you should, though.
I'm dumb.
But I did something similar, because when I hit my 10, I'm like, no, I'm not done yet. So I kept going for 4 more tickets, and I would have gone for 1 more to 15. But I did get a Da Vinci, finally. Yay, I can scratch that one off my list, and they don't have any fucking EXPs. Well, that's not true. I've gotten through a couple of Ascensions, but it's hard. Even with half AP dailies, there's a lot of EXP.
Yeah, and I'm not calling it not all the world's evil, but I told everyone it's like I would have gladly traded my MHX for either a Karna or a Da Vinci, because MHX wasn't in my high tier. Not to mention I've been leveling so many assassins. I literally only have one assassin piece and one assassin monument left.
Yeah, and you're gonna be waiting for a while,
and I'm gonna be waiting for a while. So I was just all like, great. Now I'm up to 62 servants to level, and this one's just kind of have to wait in the back. Good times.
But I got another sweet AoE Lancer.
Yeah.
I finally have my SSR offensive caster. It only took me Merlin and Waver and some other shit to get here. And I already have an alter ego. Oh well, better late than never. Spending that EXP. But alright, so that's all that. We don't have any All the World's Evil. We're going to check in real quick and ask you, did you finish your master missions? So this week's master missions are, I believe we would call this, hey, do dailies, you think? Got a lot of that going on. So, you need to defeat 30 enemies, excluding servants and certain bosses. You need to defeat 3 neutral servants, 3 chaotic servants, acquire 3 gems of archers, casters, or assassins, just get 3 gems of sabers, lancers, or riders, and get 8 gems total. So, hey, do class dailies.
On pause.
Do we want to tell a belated Not of the World's Evil story?
Yeah, let's tell a belated Not of the World's Evil.
So Lucky exploded for like 30 minutes there.
Yeah.
Possibly more.
Because it started off, my computer, everyone knows, my quote-unquote new-ish computer has a crashing issue. But it has a solid-state drive, so honestly, when it goes, I only go down for a couple minutes, and I'm back, and I'm just like, usually a mild annoyance, but, when it starts happening in rapid succession, get a little tired of it. So I set up my old computer again. I just had to switch out cords and everything. But apparently, my old computer does not like this bigger, shinier secret computer next to it, and completely threw a fucking fit for a half hour as I tried just to connect the goddamn Discord. It blue screened twice, lagged all over the place, and I'm just like, what? Why are you doing this to me? Why? At one point, I was like, ghosting was way better than this.
Which was hilarious because I had literally just said that.
High five for the hive mind. So at that point, I was just like, fuck it, I'm just switching it back, and I'll just deal with ghosting.
Yeah.
Because I was actually getting mad because, 15 seconds before my computer crashed, I was trying to actually say something, and it just looked like you kept running over me without acknowledging it. I was like, "What the fuck?" And then my computer crashed. I was like, "Oh, my computer probably crashed before that. It just took a minute for my computer to go." Oh, so good times in Lucky Land here.
Yeah, it was a while ago now, but if I scanned the audio back, it would probably just be a continuous stream of stuff. I tried to ask you a question in there, but you didn't respond, so I was like, it's probably gone. I'll finish my thought and then we'll come back. And then it was a while. Okay. We're not even 10 minutes into the mission clock right now. Let's talk about the news, kids.
I'm in space. Howie.
Also, by the way, Lucky, you're a little bit quiet. You might want to double check your mic position or something.
I probably might. Fuck. Buttons. Let me go push.
Alright, he's going to push buttons for a sec. Let's see. The news. Well, we got a couple of quick NA stuff, so let's go ahead and hit that. So, first off, this was announced, I guess you would say that, last night as of the time we're recording. And we've got Fate Grand Order Advent Calendar 2019. So, this has its own website with graphics and stuff. It's an actual Advent calendar on the internet, obviously. But log in every day in December up to Christmas to get all the goodies, and there'll be a new little goodie every day starting December 1st. Yay. You have to have gone a little bit into Fuyuki to get all of them. I assume because, some of them have, Saint Court symbols on the doors, so I'm assuming there might be, a little, maybe one day it'll be, an extra piece of quartz or extra 3 piece of quartz or something, so you have to be, far enough in you can summon.
Oh, is that how I use my microphone volume? How do I sound now?
About the same to me, but hold on. Let me look at your sound levels. You're looking pretty good.
Alright, we'll call it good there, fuck it.
Yeah. And if you're quiet, whatever, you've been quiet before. Lucky will just get enthusiastic when he talks.
Get loud!
It's a site somewhere. They tweeted about it. But yeah, so that's interesting. This is kind of like the thing they did last year for Thanksgiving with the, what was it? Sauce versus stuffing?
Oh, yeah.
So it's a little website page. It's got some design. It's got a thing. There's rewards in it. That's neat. That's some extra effort that they're putting in for us here in NA.
Yeah.
Almost like they care about us or something.
Much to some groups. What's the word I want to use? Vehement denial.
Yeah. We've said this before, and we'll probably say it again. You can say other stuff about how servers are managed, and probably will, because we're going to have some fun discussion later. It'll be interesting, that is for sure. But the whole, they don't care about us, that really does not scan, because Lucky and I have talked about this. When you truly don't care about something, you don't do jack shit, right? Like, you don't do little touches like this, you do nothing.
Yeah.
So we'll see what kind of rewards are in there. I'm hoping maybe a little extra smattering of mats, kind of like the Thanksgiving tickets, or
I would appreciate some assassin pieces right now for
some
reasons.
Statues. Yeah, that could be a thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But so we'll have to see. It doesn't start until December proper, which is not until Sunday. Yeah, but remember to log in, and they've preemptively put a bullet point. If there's maintenance on the day of the calendar, the login period doesn't count until you log in. It doesn't start until maintenance is over.
Yeah.
So, that's good. They're thinking ahead. We'll see why they're thinking ahead in a second. But there's one more NA thing that got announced for sure. I think it was last night again. Which is that Pseudo-Singularity 4, the Forbidden Advent Garden Heretical Salem, begins December 2nd. Which is a little bit later than I reckoned on it, but yeah, still there. And there's a social media campaign for 10 Saint Courts and stuff that's about halfway done.
Yeah.
So that's cool. They announced it. It's going to be a little bit. Bless you.
Yeah, excuse me.
They're letting the extra AP and stuff, and the Thanksgiving rotation simmer, I guess, which is okay. That'll probably mean that our version of Christmas is closer to actual Christmas. The actual Crimbo. That's cool.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, let's get into the thing. So, in JP, they've started Nightingale's Christmas Carol, running from 11:27 to 12:10. The first bullet point. I believe this was clocked in at 28 hours of maintenance.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
So, this was an interesting development story. This was supposed to start on the 27th for Japan. So, I think technically it was like somewhere early on the 27th. It was when they actually went down for maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
So, pretty quickly, after we got to the close of the normal maintenance period, because it was a little bit longer, they said the dread phrase that everybody in apps now is scared of, which is, we cannot confirm the update for iOS is in the App Store. Reminding everybody that Apple are the real villains here. Boy, howdy, we got a lot of Apple memes.
Yeah,
they were reposted a lot, but still. So, in the first half of maintenance, probably the first 12-ish hours of the extended maintenance, there was a lot of saltiness because it was apparently announced by JP that because they knew the maintenance would be extended, they were going to make it so everybody counted as having logged in during the day when the servers were down, basically. Yeah. Which got a lot of people upset because some people were concerned about their login streaks before. Now, I want to say a couple of things about this before we move into how this actually ended. First off, a lot of people are like, Ermagir, why didn't they do this for NA? It's entirely possible that they would have had they known, because here's the thing. The NA thing happened first, then the JP thing. So, you can't, unless you're a mind reader, there's, you guys, and we don't either, we'll say this too, we don't either, but nobody but Delightworks has any evidence of any thought process of why things were done the way they were done.
Yeah.
Which is, like I said, why it's not rational to make value judgments about this kind of stuff, because you don't know what the order of operations was. Like, it might have been that because they knew this was going to happen and they saw that NA people were very upset about their login streak, they were like, shit, apparently people care about their login streak. We have to get ahead of this and make sure it's locked in now. Because it is to my understanding, as several people like to point out, that the last time this happened in JP, they did not count you as logging in, they froze your login streak. So it didn't go down, but they didn't necessarily say you counted as logging in.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit different to the process. So yes, it sounds like maybe this time they were ready, and the first time with NA they were surprised. And also, like I said, app development with FGO is apparently pretty weird, so who the flip knows if this method even works for our version of the app.
I don't know. We're not using the same type of FGO they are over there.
Yeah, they fully blown switched to Unity, right? Didn't they? Or something like that?
I believe so, yeah. And also, you gotta remember, over in JP, that's where the servers actually are, and they basically have direct access to everything. Over here, we have to play a fucking telephone game with them just to make sure, and that can be depending on the time of day, and, who's at, maybe some of our staff's out at a fucking con.
Well, or worse, when we'll get to the extending of this. But yeah, so it was a complex issue that already was making people annoyed. Yeah. But as we approach the 24-hour mark, the nature of this resentment changed because as we were getting towards the tail end of maintenance, and it still wasn't up on Apple, and there still wasn't any news. It was well, in America, it rolled over past midnight. It was actual Thanksgiving. Which is bad. So, in case you guys don't know, I know we have some listeners who are out of the country. Thanksgiving is a national holiday and state holiday in America. So, businesses are closed, banks are closed, the government is closed. You, don't get mail on this day. The only thing I think that operates is there's a couple of places that are, 24/7, and they'll find some lonely motherfucker to man the counter, and basically, airports and stuff are open.
Insurance companies and stuff like that, too.
Yeah, some emergency services obviously still work, but, most everybody gets to go home, and it's the best thing out of the year. It's the 4-day holiday weekend. Because, obviously, in America, we usually get weekends, Saturday, Sunday off. So, if there's a holiday on a Monday or Friday, 3-day weekend, that's a great deal. Well, Thanksgiving is always a Thursday, so that's 4 days in a row blocked out where fucking nobody is going to be at the office. So, a lot of people were like, oh shit, is JP going to be fucked because there's nobody's in the regular ass Apple offices? Probably not, but because they do have an office in Tokyo. But still, there was a legit concern that the Japanese company would not be able to get Apple to de-ass on a holiday weekend. But no, that didn't turn out to be the case. So that's when stuff started to change. And then after 28 hours, which was longer than ours, we were exactly 24 hours. Mm-hmm. After 28 hours, maintenance ended, and then people were very, very disappointed because, as far as I know to this date, all JP got for it was 10 Saint Quartz and 10 gold apples. Which, in case you forgot, what happened with us was we got the full 24 Saint Quartz for each hour we were down, and then an extra 10 to apologize for the inconvenience of breaking your login streak and stuff.
Yep.
This has not sat well with some of the people who play JP that I know. Yeah. So, this is... when I said earlier this would be interesting, I think it is interesting because it's an interesting case study on where people place their value. We've talked about this before, Lucky. Nature has already broken our streaks for whatever reason, so yeah, we can't care about them because they're fucked. So
yeah,
it's that thing I talk about where, okay, you can choose to let go of things you can't control, or you can just die, I guess, because nothing else you do will solve this.
Yeah.
So we accept that we let go. It's like NP subs. We don't really care that much. Obviously, some people do care, but then the question is, do you care about your login streak more than you care about quartz? Because, I know some people were like, I'd rather have my login streak than my free summon. I think you don't mean that or you're crazy. You can say that, but is that really how you feel? Because here's the thing. Your login streak is ephemeral. It's a valueless number. It's perfectly meaningless. Saint Quartz has a literal monetary value. It's 99 cents per shiny rock.
Well, I guess some people will count it because we do get 20 quartz every 50 days?
Yes, so your total logins builds up to that, but the streak part doesn't matter. That just means you're off slightly by a day. And hey, guess what? Everybody's off by that day now.
Ta-da.
So yeah, that's just how we do value judgments. I've said this before. I think that some of that insistence is crazy. So yeah, we'll see if Russell Jimmy's in Japan means that they eventually get more rewards, but that was not the default. When our server came back up, it was like, we're super sorry, here's a shitload of quartz, we're gonna fix your rewards later for the login day. We're sorry about that. So it's very interesting to see what happens. Is it just did they think because of the hullabaloo on the internet that people cared more about login streaks, and so we're like, we fix our login streaks, they'll be fine? Was it are they taking JP for granted? There's 18 million of these fuckers. It doesn't matter if we give them, 28 Saint Courts. Was 28 too close to 30? And they were like, hold on, we need them to spend some money on Saber Astolfo first. So, I don't know. There's a lot of people seem to think that, JP hates us, they treat us like dirt or whatever. It's... Lucky and I talk about this all the time. Hanlon's razor. Don't attribute to malice what can be attributed to human error, basically.
Yeah.
Too many people try to make this a moral value judgment, and it's not really. We have no idea what business or practical thing got in there and as to why they couldn't fix this. And as always, remember, it's Apple's fault. But if you are concerned about your login streak, we'll see what happens when we actually have to do maintenance, because I assume we'll have to do maintenance for Salem, because, well, now it's been firmly established. And now there's a question, though. Before, when the first thing announced was the login streak, I was like, okay, if this persists, if they don't necessarily even that up so they treat us fairly, that is a little bit of a concern, right? That's
yeah.
I'd want to at least know why you can't do that for us for both servers. But now it's ooh, do I want to preserve my login streak, or do I want more quartz? I want more quartz, so do I care about uneven treatment? Because right now the treatment's uneven, and I like it in our favor. So we'll have to see what happens. Some people will be upset anyway, because they are subject to the thou must upset yourself fallacy, and thus they feel the need to be angry about stuff and constantly make negative value judgments. But whatever, dude.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the actual event stuff. It had a TVCM starring Nightingale's Eyes.
Real quick, I noticed that the background track that they used for the CM was basically a rearrangement of the one they used for Summer 3. Not really like it. I kind of actually want to see if they actually have full tracks of that, because it makes me feel things.
They usually release a full whatever for the CMs eventually.
Because I do know, they have the CM soundtracks. So
yeah, they produce singles and stuff. Because that was the thing that everybody was excited about for the OQ Labyrinth, because that had a very specific song with lyrics that a lot of people were excited to hear, and it was eventually released in full.
Yeah. Speaking of it, Salem has a really good song for its CM.
Yeah, is that... Do all EORs have the same theme? I don't
know. No. All the CMs have different.
Okay, because when Lost Belts do CMs, it's always the Lost Belt opening song in the background, for instance, and I think that's how it is for it was for Part 1 Singularities. I'm not sure. We could do some research. Well, Lucky can do some research. I can't because I'm recording my system audio. So
yeah, that
would be a copyright problem.
Whoopsie.
But yeah, so and the joke about starring Nightingale's Eyes is her that's the thumbnail for the TVCM on YouTube. It's there's a one dramatic zoom in shot of her face where her eyes are in super high detail. So while Lucky's running down some music stuff, we'll talk about the event. It's a pretty typical lotto event. You got some skill cookies. It's got all of Nightingale's stuff in it. You get your permanent one after 5 boxes. Pretty typical Christmas. Login and the lotto give you special Christmas exchange tickets. These are almost exactly like the special Thanksgiving tickets we just got in NA. You exchange them for your choice of Chaos Claws, Plumes, or Giant Rings. And I think they're in the lotto loop, so technically you can get quote-unquote unlimited exchange of these. So that's neato. Shop has the usual stuff. There's a CE. There's some command codes. There's some mats. Yes, some mats. And, the usual shenanigans. That's right. Technically, your extra copies of Nightingale are in the shop, but it's a bit like, Jolter Santa, where, you spend the special currency you only get in the lotto boxes to get the extra copies kind of thing. The event currency is bandages, thermometers, pillows, and first aid kits, and the lotto currency is red band-aids.
System sounds, why you do that?
Which will 100% not be called band-aids in America, because that's a brand name. You may have heard the song Stuck on Band-Aid brand. Yeah, that's because they are Band-Aid is actually a brand. That's a genericized trademark, so much like the Pocky thing with Azure Lane, there's no friggin' way that FGO&A is going to want to pay Band-Aid to use the term Band-Aid. So, that'll be some funs. But yeah, they're bright red band-aids. Where was that? Oh, so when you start the event, you get temporary Nightingale Santa right at the beginning, and she gets double EXP. So that's cool. I like that they start doing that. You get double EXP on welfares.
Incentivize you to get them up and good, considering they're usually a bonus servant. A really good bonus servant.
Yeah, and we talked about the whole bonus servants last time. So, apparently this is also the secret Fortnite collab, because the story is that it's a Santa Battle Royale.
Sorry.
Yeah, you get some speakers on. Whoops.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out why my speakers weren't playing, and so I was fiddling around, and then I figured out the combination, and shit got loud.
Yeah.
My bad.
But yeah, so this is apparently secretly a Santa, well, not secretly, but it's a Santa Battle Royale, which has a weird raid-esque mechanic. So, when global Lotto Box resets reach a certain level, a special Santa Battle Royale quest will open. So, everybody roll those Lotto Boxes.
Get it.
So you can get more quests. The summon campaign is Astolfo Saber, Nightingale, the full version obviously, Ashvatman, Rhyme, Caesar, Boudica, Darius 3, and some new CEs. So I made sure to put this in a pin here. We're going to welcome the artist of Ancient Magus Bride to FGO. She did the 5-star CE, which is great.
Yeah. It's great.
And if you don't know what that is or how much we like it, check out Anime Power Hour. But no, we really like Ancient Magus Bride.
I still read it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for hopefully a second season in there. If they don't, I might have to start picking it up, though. Man. Monthly manga updates are slow. I read the finale of Full Metal Alchemist, and that was especially when they got into the climax, that felt like kind of a drag to be like, oh, please just finish it already. But maybe it's just because we're too used to binge culture.
There we go.
But also, final bullet point about the Nightingale event, there's also some quality of life updates. There's some UI display improvements, but also there's been an engine change. The mechanics have actually changed. If you have Evade or Invincible, you don't reduce skills with a set number of hit, like damage cut. So if you have, like, mashes like one-time damage cut, if a servant is currently evading or invincible, it doesn't reduce the hit number, which it did before.
Oh.
Which is cool. That's a cool ad that they fixed that, and hopefully... They might not, because I know they switched to a new engine, but hopefully they can get those kinds of mechanical updates to us sooner, rather than later.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what we got about the event. We'll talk about the servants in a second. All the fun stuff there. But yeah, it took a long time to get there, but they did get there, and it seems fun. But yes, okay. So, let's see.
Sorry, I'm yelling at my paint now as I do the thumbnail, and I'm not taking any bets of people guessing of what's going to be on the fucking thing. I'm pretty sure everyone will get 2 out of 3. Pretty fucking easy.
Well, also, they can see it already. Most of the public. Yeah. There's like 2 people who can't yet, but they should be able to guess.
Yeah.
Alright, let's move into free talk. And let's talk about those new servants and stuff.
Yeah.
So, first off, Saber Astolfo, the man, the myth, the legend, much like Calamity Jane, finally here. So when's the friggin' Prototype collab where we can just scratch Perseus and Prototype Gil off the list? Anyway, so naturally being a single target Saber, he's limited. It be how it be. At least I'm pretty sure he's limited. I believe that was the discussion. So we'll, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and that'll be great for there to be a permanent 5-star Saber, but I'm doubtful because I've seen that he's limited other places. But, it be how it be. So, fairly median HP attack. It's alright. Got a quick Arts Buster deck. Pretty good hit counts. Pretty solid NP gen. For a single target NP, his is pretty basic. It's single target quick. It boosts his quick cards for 3 turns. NP seals the enemy. Pretty standard stuff. But, it's 9 hits. So, that's some pretty fierce star gen. Also, it is a whip sword. So, that's pretty baller.
Upset right now. I literally cannot get Nightingale's face and legs in the same area, and this upsets me very much.
Very much so, yeah, that's bad. Speaking of faces, though, like, some people, when they saw the leaked sprites, were a little like, oh, Saber Astolfo looks pretty normal. Keeping in mind that, obviously, some of this design work was probably done a while ago, because he was in the data for the game since launch. Where they did not skimp? That fucking NP.
Yeah!
Because, like I said, you got the whip sword, got a front-facing sprite with a dramatic zoom. It's really good, and you should read his dialogue sometime. It's hilarious.
Wasn't there, like, something in his profile where he can literally make clones of himself?
Yes, that's the level 5 bond. He has a secret NP which taps into the power of the hippogriff to create a large body of Astolfos. Even if the real one is there, he will not be hit, and eventually the amount of Astolfos will explosively replicate. And then it was something like, naturally, the sight of 100 Astolfos...
cheering and raving is, like, someone's worst nightmare, and I just saw, like...
That's hilarious. So yeah, he can mass shadow clone. Somebody should make that edit. Just pin a bunch of Astolfo faces on there. Also, I think technically this Astolfo is Twin Tails? It's a little hard to tell from the sprite, but I think from the front-facing, you've got pink hair on both sides, whereas normally it's more of a braid or a ponytail?
Yeah, it's usually a single braid. Let me see here. Let me open it up again.
But yeah, Saber Astolfo is a good civ.
Yeah,
and in case you didn't get it, the bunny motif is because of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
That's a well, mostly in East Asia, but it's a
oh yeah, he's totally a twin tail now.
Of course, naturally, 5%. He's 5% more knightly. But yeah, no. Like I said, the dialogue is great. There's a lot of interesting reactions to stuff. Like Astolfo's, I would have to type it out for you or listen because Astolfo's reaction to himself is the way it was typed is just like hilarious. But go check that out. So let's talk about skills. So first skill is his little black book. It's a 5-turn cooldown, self-debuff cleanse, and 10 to 20% NP gen per turn for 3 turns, which is great. Next is the Doot, La Black Luna itself. In a great application, this inflicts terror, which has a chance to stun per turn, and gives Astolfo 3 hits of evade for 3 turns. Kind of an homage to the original Hippogriff effect. And then lastly, Majestic Triumphant Return EX gives him 20% attack, up to 20% attack, I should say, 30% crit, and strongly improves his star rate on his 1 Buster card for 3 turns. And has a minimum of 5-turn cooldown, so that's basically a self charisma, but also a star weight thing on his 1 Buster card. Has magic resistance A and writing A. In general, a solid quick saver. Has decent NP gen, can capitalize strongly on critical turns, and has a little bit of longevity because quick usually requires a setup turn. You know, like, ideally you'll probably do something like, a quick brave chain with NP. You'll generate shitloads of stars, and the next turn you'll be like, okay, I'm going to use my 1 Buster card now, and hit really, really hard. And obviously, with this extant stuff, he'll mesh really well with quick support like Scotty, etc. And next up, it's Florence Nightingale, y'all. No, this joke won't get old. She has a, what does Dr. Killmonger say? Killinger say in, Venture Brothers. My mother umbrella. She literally has a giant handbag and a murder umbrella.
I like to call it a gunbrella.
Yeah. But it's not a gun, it shoots medicine. Duh. It's healing. But yeah, so she's our second Christmas archer. Yes, she's an archer. What else would she be? She's an umbrella that shoots syringes that explode. She has good attack, lower HP, so that technically sets her apart. Altera Sunta is weighted the other way. A lot of HP, not as much attack. Interesting enough, she's also quick arts buster, with pretty good NP gen and hit count. And hey, guess what? She's also quick. She's an AoE quick, decent hits. So this does a lot of things. This strips enemies' defensive buffs, so evade, invincible, defense up, damage cut, shit like that. Get out of here. It lowers their defense for a couple of turns, but it has a demerit. It heals them of any damage over time effect. So if they have curse, burn, poison, she removes it from all of them. But hey, guess what? You just won't use her if you're doing a DOT comp. You'd probably use somebody who makes that better. But yeah, that means that she can hit pretty hard. But it's a decent AoE effect. So her first skill is Assault Medicine, which removes 1 buff from all enemies, removes 1 debuff from the team, and gives you 1k to 3k healing, 5-turn cooldown. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good AoE heal. Wow. And if you only have 1 debuff, that's good. So next up is Nurse of Steel Holy Knight. This is a targetable effect. It gives the target ally guts, buff removal resist up to 100%. That's becoming more and more frequent these days, and gives them NP damage plus for 3 turns. It's got a long cooldown, but that's because it's got a lot of effects, but it's a good support pocket. And then she basically has a special charisma. It's... Oh, the name is really, really long, so I didn't write it down, but I should probably go ahead and try. It's translated as the angel that rings the bell on the holy night EX. Because there's a lot of angelic themes. This version of Nightingale, for instance, is she doesn't have the divinity trait or the divinity skill, but has the divine trait.
No,
because she's super angelic, I guess.
God damn it, Vesper.
Just realized that she has an upside down rainbow in her card art, and that means something very, very different to me now. It implies a lot, though. I don't know. Maybe Nasu is playing Death Stranding.
Honestly, I can see it. I can honestly see it.
The man loves Bloodborne.
Mm-hmm. Vesper, how many fucking Astolfo emotes do you have?
I think Vesper just joined servers to get their Astolfo emotes. So, but yeah, and I'll be sure to hide some band-aids in the thumbnail.
Be cool.
That'll be funny. But yeah, so it's a charisma variant. So it's basically like Ishtar's charisma type, I think, because she does crit damage. So it's party's attack for 3 turns, 10 to 20%, and party's crit damage, 20 to 30%. Now, she has some pretty decent passives. She has Magic Resistance C. She has Independent Action A+, so those crits she makes on her own are going to hit like trucks. Oh, and she still has Madness Enhancement EX.
Oh god, really?
Yeah, so that one Buster card is going to hurt. The result is I think she's a great support archer and generalist. She generates stars because she's got 2 quick cards inherently and an AoE multi-hit Quick Noble Phantasm. She can improve damage because she's got a charisma. She can heal and remove buffs. All of her kit is support, and she strips enemies of offensive, of negative buffs. So it's great to put her like first in an MP chain, and then you've got a follow-up turn. All in all, a very decent welfare. She's gonna go right up there with like Irie, I think, in terms of supportive agents of healing. Because with the advantage even that her NP is offensive, and she is technically an offensive class, so she can take care of your team while still putting the hurt on some people, much like her Berserker form. So yeah, that's Nightingale Santa.
I'm excited.
Yes, Axe, you pointed that out. It's very interesting. Despite being different classes, Nightingale and Astolfo have the new ones for Christmas have very similar shticks. They're both quick arts buster. They have stuff that makes their one buster card really good. They're quick, obviously, so they're really good at star gen. And then Nightingale has damage mitigation in the form of like healing and guts, whereas Astolfo has damage mitigation in the form of evade, and both of them can remove debuffs. But Astolfo is more selfish than she is, which makes sense because it's got that. But Astolfo also has an NP charging gimmick, but Nightingale has the same hit counts on her 2 arts cards and slightly better NP gains, so she kind of compensates. They're very interesting to see together. But yeah, so both of them are pretty decent if you feel like rolling. But oh man, this is gonna the end of 2021 is gonna be a sucky time for NA for me, because that's like Space Ishtar, and then there's this, and then there's gonna be Lost Belt 5, which we are reasonably sure is coming because the leaks. We said this last week. We were like, picks or it didn't happen. Well, hey, guess what? There were picks, so it happened.
Yeah.
So we're pretty sure the thing is going to come out.
Yeah.
Now,
there are some people...
Well, yeah, I assume you're going to mention the same thing about the rerun.
Yeah, go. Well, you can say it.
Well, yeah, so basically there are some people who are kind of like, where the flip is my rerun of my Santa Cuts. And we don't know. We do know that we do know the schedule going up to January, but after that it's not guaranteed. And they have done reruns in January before. We're coming up on one. We're going to get the Da Vinci rerun with the Jalter banner and her costume next January ourselves. So it's entirely possible they could have relocated it there because they're weird. And we discussed this last time, and somebody did send me a message about it, though I would like to remind everybody, please don't send me messages at like 5 a.m. That's a little distracting. I get alerts on my phone when you send me direct messages on Discord. So let's not do that, please. But discussing, because we were like, and part of this is just our tone of phrasing. We said that it was around Christmas because chronologically in the calendar, it would be winterish or summerish in the southern hemisphere, but technically Carnival is more towards February or March, I've been informed. So if that's really the larger theme of Santa/Samba Kets, they could easily put it off and still say it's on theme, because they want to make sure they get 2 Lost Belts out in a year, because, oh man, it would be rough otherwise.
As I said, usually, our, first few months are pretty packed, but there's not really a set schedule in what they pack in there.
There will be a Valentine's, but that Valentine's could just be last Valentine's again. We don't know. They've done that before.
Yeah, the only things you can really say that are, locked in is we get a summer event. We usually get one Gouda Gouda a year. I think, when it averages out. Halloween's up in the air. Christmas event. And we get our Guild Fest, usually early fall. Or something like that. I think those are, the only...
Yes, that is literally just UX. You're the only one who wants variants to... That's the thing about seasonals, is they explicitly say, this is how we put out new versions of the character who don't get alters. But also, her dialogue's not I haven't seen her profile translated or anything yet. I believe, I'll actually double check, I don't think normal Nightingale is divine.
No, wait. I don't think so.
Servant humanoid, lawful good, Wigzano Elish, Western European. Nope. Doesn't have the divine trait that Mayor Poppendale does. So, there's definitely something slightly different, but honestly, Christmas characters are Christmas characters, so.
Yeah. Oh, and also, I almost forgot, we always get our fucking Golden with collab.
Yes, some people were thinking about, you actually suggested in chat that, wait a minute, but what if they do a Tsukihime collab?
Well, I say this not because, I'm super on board with Tsukihime. It's just that I believe that the stars are right, because it was actually funny. Both me and Omega, we like to fucking drop lore in chat all the time, but Omega has this habit that when someone starts talking lore, this guy will fucking kick down the door and be like, yeah, let me put some fucking deets on you. And at that
mostly
point,
that's because I have to look up those deets myself, and then once I've looked them up, there's no reason not to just be like, yeah, okay, here's what I saw.
Yeah. But, it was only a little while ago, I was looking up information on Foe, and specifically the legend of, Kath Palug, which is actually an Arthurian legend, believe it or not. And, digging through Nossoverse, you find out Foe in a different timeline is Kath Palug, also known as, Primate Murder, which is known as Beast 4. Specifically, needs 7 Guardians to, keep it under control. And, that got the wheels fucking turning, and it's alright, so technically we've beaten Beast 4 in our timeline, but there's nothing to say that another Beast 4 from another fucking timeline can't come over and start fucking up our shit.
Yeah.
So, and Tsukihime, Beast 4 is never actually, Primate Murder, I don't think ever actually enters fucking play. It's just something mentioned.
Yeah, it's one of the many, many background facts when talking about throughout the whole extended Tsukihime universe of, man, vampires are real cool.
Yeah. But, I do know that, it is currently under the control of one particular vampire's elders. Wait, I think I just completely forgot how to English there.
Well, you're gonna have a problem, because if you're gonna try and pronounce Crimson Moon's name.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna.
Fucking Nasu. I said I need to make one of Meesek's random outbursts just Nasu.
But, cause, as they say, as Gilgamesh said, once one beast appears, all the rest are fated to follow. And, as I said, this is my personal interpretation, but I don't consider, Foe's, noble sacrifice necessarily the manifestation of a beast.
Yeah, we got him before we got a beast. Now, technically, he phrases it as, you defeated Beast 4 without throwing a single blow. But...
Yeah, but Foe never actually manifested as Beast 4. He had the potential to do so, but thanks to living with Merlin and, getting to know humans in a world that, didn't necessarily subscribe to fucking, envy and, progress, which basically is what fuels a foe's murder
Beast
abilities.
of comparison.
Yeah. Getting a chance to advance. And when you think about it, remember, we first met Solomon. That's Beast 1. Then we met Tiamat, Beast 2. And now we have beat both the left side and the right side of Beast 3. And so, like, going in line, Beast 4 is up. And considering that Tokugawa Labyrinth was last year, now would be a good time. Next year's Golden Week collab will be a good time to bring in Beast 4 again, along with a Tsukihime collab, because as Nasu has stated, there has been progress on the Tsukihime remake. I don't think he's actually joking about that, because how long have they been working on the Tsukihime remake?
I know, forever.
It's like been in the like. Oh my god,
they've been talking about it for a long time. But basically, he said earlier this year they are in playtesting of it.
Yeah.
Work is happening. They started a new studio recently that does stuff. They're working on it. It is actively working. Also, a couple of other tidbits that came up. Though also, he teased this in a question about Tsukihime collab, where he was like, there's Golden Week every year. So it's like, you could just be joshing us, or it could be deepest lore, because Nasu. But also, if I remember rightly, the original release of Tsukihime was in the year 2000. It's going to be 2020 next year. It was in December, so it's not going to be like exactly 20 years since, but 20 calendar years. So that would be as good a time as any. And like he was saying, it is a decent opportunity to tie it into the themes of FGO.
Yeah.
And some people joke about, we're going to see a non-Type Moon collab before Tsukihime or whatever. I don't think so. I think this is as decent a chance as any, and we'll see.
Well, like, as I said, like, FGO is maintained. I don't know if there's an official statement that they don't want to do non-Type Moon works, but...
no, that is, I think Nasu has actually said when talking about it, is that it's harder to get those to fit in with the setting of FGO. They're not opposed to it. There would be certain brands that I'm sure he'd be down to get with. It's just, for most, it's not like, say, I know Granblue does a lot of like anime collabs. It's not like they could just do FGO X Code Geass. Lelouch is a something? Giant robot servants? Like, it's like, the rules don't necessarily cross over.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, but people have mentioned, like, they want to see, like, a Melty Blood. Some people even joke about Notes.
Notes being quite obscure. It's been referenced, but I don't know if there's... I feel like that's another thing where they're just going to bring elements of Notes into the main plot.
Yeah.
Which they've already done with Melty Blood specifically, is Melty Blood stuff is starting to be referenced in our plot.
Yeah. And, there's another one, I can never remember the name of it. Maho Yoru no Sakai?
Yeah. Is it Witch Night?
Yeah.
That's another one that people are commonly talking about. Though, shoot, I can never remember. One of the Awazaki sisters was thought to be referenced by a character's, Matt's profile recently. It wouldn't be common.
Oh, it's Maho Sakai no Yoru.
Yeah, Maho Sakai no Yoru. Night of the Witch, I think. Something like that. But yeah, so that's just a little known, like, little pocket VN thing, but it has some major characters in it.
Yeah.
And there's still some collab characters we'd like to see. So we'll see what happens. I'll be very interested to see what they do when they do rerun Apocrypha, because the Saber Astolfo is here, so they got most everybody. We'll see if they do another bonus servant like they've been doing with previous collab reruns, like, has it been literally all of them since Kara no Kyokai? K with Fujino, which is early next year, people. Start watching out. Saber Deermud was Zero Axel, and then Miyu was Prisma collab, so yeah. They've added a little somebody into a lot of the collabs they've been rerunning, so I guess we'll see. Though
maybe they'll add a pseudo-servant using one of the masters? I don't know.
Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, so maybe they'll add another homunculus.
Well, they do have a passive skill for that. So Demon Saber is permanent, but I believe
I'm pretty sure
Fujino is definitely limited because people died. And is Miyu also limited? Yes. We're getting a lot of limited 4 stars. We're gonna have to. Shit's gonna get exciting if they ever do free any 4-star
Oof.
ticket. That's gonna be a free for all because there's gonna be summers in there, and there's gonna be lots of event collabs, and it's gonna be rough. But yes, that's just our speculation, Omo Bob. So we'll have to see as the year comes out.
What they're going to do for a remake of case files? That could be interesting.
I mean, there's a couple of people in there. Really what I need is the case files sequel, so they can put Faker in it.
Yeah.
Or just put her in as the collab, because now the anime's out and everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yes. So, lots of interesting things going on, and we'll have to see. Like I said, this. For us in the future, this section of the year is going to be rough because there's going to be a lot of banners back to back. But we're coming up on a pretty important year for us in NA too, because it's going to be we're about to get Salem. Then it's going to be Christmas, which will have a Reshigol. Then it's going to be there's no banner for it, but there's a story thing, which is Lost Belt Prologue. Then there's going to be Hokusai's banner. Then we've got a lot of new events and stuff running throughout the year, and a lot of new banners. And we'll. Do we get all? Yeah, we get 3 Lost Belts in this year.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, and 3. So it's gonna be pretty packed. And then there's gonna be a whole lot of nothing for a while. It's gonna be so weird. Yeah, it's people, because it was earlier this year in Japan was the drought basically of content when FGO was at probably its lowest point. So it's gonna be interesting to see.
That is the time to stock up and prepare.
Yeah, because there's going to be a little roller coaster once they actually bust out. Well, there's still Lady Murasaki, but once they bust out Lost Belt 4, then there's a lot of ups and downs from there. That does remind me. We did get some feedback and stuff on the welfare thing. Just in general, people voicing their opinions. Some are like they're excited for it. Some of them are like, oh man, we miss voice. So just in general, I don't know. We'll keep an open mind for it. It would probably have to be sometime early next year because we would want, to cleanly pass the period where Altera Suntao is out, and we want some time back. And then it's just the question of like, do we want to do it on if we were going to do it, would we want to do it on a 1 year or a 2 year cycle? We could probably narrow it down to 1 year so it's not super fucking long.
Yeah,
and figure out formatting and stuff. I don't know if how with your computer situation but I thought. That could be an interesting thing to throw at Editor Lucky. Just a big long block of content and see what happens.
I could probably make infographics.
Yeah, that's why I was just like, that would be interesting if nobody's in a hurry for it. You could just see what happens, and what happens. So we'll think about it some more. Maybe do some planning. Mm-hmm. And people, if you have a preference, audience, let us know. Yes. So audience, in case you were wondering, Lucky did Ghost literally as he said. Well.
Yeah. And I totally forgot what I was saying.
That's okay. I think I concluded it with just audience, give us your feedback. What would you prefer? Now it's not just, do you want us to do the thing? How do you want us to do the thing?
Yeah. I remember what I was saying. Depending on when the nearest welfare is, as long as I think we get it out before that first welfare, should be fine.
I'd have to double check because it's.
I'd probably be the Golden Week.
Yeah, I think it's actually. Hold on, let me just look at the list. Somewhere in there, I could find list of welfares.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So let's check at the backlog there.
Backlog.
So yeah, the first one of the new year would be Sieg in the Apocrypha event. So
yeah, that's
we have several months before that happens.
Yeah.
Let's see. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then only 4 next year. Interesting. Oh, because there was no Halloween welfare, right? Interesting.
Still shook.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but we'll see how things go. But all right. So I think that's all of our newsy bops and discussion. We don't have anything new going on in NAFGO right now. We're just anticipating Salem. And if you want to know more about it, check out our episode last week. Though that one did pretty good.
Solid.
Well then, we're about an hour in, which means it's time to talk about Babylonia.
Yeah! I'm excited for this.
Yeah, as usual, audience, if you're not caught up on Babylonia, go away now. But come back
I'm gonna tell you right now, if there's an episode to watch, it is fucking this one.
Yeah. I watched it fresh before we started, because I had a busy week. So I've had a great day, because I watched the new episode of The Mandalorian and then Babylonia. I got some stuff in.
I watched it the day of, and I've watched it maybe once per day since.
Yeah, it's really fucking good. So there's no OP. This starts. There's not even really a cold open. It just starts. With Tiamat Gorgon is like, oh ho ho, puny humans, you will be destroyed. And then Merlin steps up, big dick swinging, and is like, that's fine. I'm immortal. I can't be destroyed, babe. At which point Gorgon is like, oh, well, I'll just petrify you then. You'll look good as a statue. At which point, just like in the dialogue in the actual story, Merlin immediately flip-flops and he's like, nope, bad idea, change of plans. Whatever you do, absolutely do not let her do that to me. You have to protect me at all costs. Something bad will happen if I lose consciousness, which we will come back to.
Yeah. Also, shout out to the artist. They give Gorgon a really, really good looking down at you face, like at all times.
Yes, when Gorgon is doing, in the background, she's CG. We talked about that last week. But when they do up-close shots, they're very detailed, which is good, considering how freaking huge she is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they did what I wanted. They play a little snippet of Gorgon's battle theme here for the first part, which is good, because it kind of builds dramatic tension, and then it cuts out, because Ushi is here. And it just goes, and we don't stop for a while, kids. So buckle the fuck up.
I think I kept track. I think it's like 22 minutes of action this episode.
Yeah, remember how we say they usually are like, oh, we'll backload the action. No, this episode front loads it. There's not a lot of not action at the back either. Like, even in the part where Merlin is bossing around, there's still Gorgon's throwing like snake lasers and eye beams around and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And she's pretty strong, though Mash can take some energy. Her shield blocks a lot of stuff. But then Ushi gets here, and it's on. And in case you didn't know how fucking fast Ushi is, she fast. She quick. Quick, with two C's. So this is probably a good, solid... Well, there's a little bit of dialogue. She's like, I, Ushi Wakamaru, am here. Fujimaru, Dono, you should GTFO. And he's like, oh, I definitely cannot leave a friend behind. And she's like, don't worry, I'll see you again. That's a promise as a friend.
States, this is not your place to die. Would you launch your journey to end with a mealing death here? And Fujimaru's just like, angst.
It's like, no, if I'm gonna die, I gotta go die somewhere else. Okay, bye. And they run away and just...
Oh my god, they put, like, so much money into this comic. I think one of my favorite scenes is seeing Ushi like run along the fucking roofs as, she's just trying to circle Gorgon. It's just like,
yeah,
God.
This is just nonstop motion and speed shots. Like, Gorgon does not take this lying down. She goes full out. We're talking laser beams, smashing shit. There's one shot later when she swings her tail, and it is so slow, but so heavy. The animation makes you feel just how fucking huge she is, as it just, like, in the frames, it's just creeping along, but there's all this noise as it's, like, obliterating houses.
The sound design is great, too.
Oh, yeah, the fucking sound design is great. There's crackling stone, shifting earth, multiple beam sounds. You hear Ushi's shoes clack as she moves. But yeah, so they just go all out, and it's Gorgon's trying her damnedest, and she just can't hit Ushi. She's way too fast. Ushi's real fast, kids. Very jumpy. And so she goes in for one of her, Tales of Shanao, the Utsumi Dori, which is kind of a flash step, short-range strike attack. But then we smash cut to the team. We've almost made it back to the wall. We're pretty close, and then, though, by the way, it's important to note that Enkidu also is like, you start to see a little bit more of his character, or we can even call him Kingu now, because he says his name at the end of the episode. So Kingu's got a little bit of the, like, oh man, it's real troublesome having an angry mother sometimes. That's okay, I'll get over it. But the team rushes back to the wall. Tromps over there. Pretty good stuff. But yeah, so we kind of do this felt like a little bit of a quick cut in the anime, but I guess they needed to keep the action going. But we basically, there's a brief exposition intermission in the control room. Da Vinci and Romani talk about stuff. And then...
They mention how badass Ushi Wakamaru is.
And then we just come back and we're already at the wall. And then Gorgon just fucking... They do the thing. She just smashes through the ground.
I do appreciate, like... They do a little bit of stuff, because Leonidas, like, just is looking, just like,
He's like, that stuff going on over there.
Yeah.
Also, they did not do the exact quote about Gorgon being mad that Ushi ran on her tail, but Ushi does jump on her tail and say, oh, your body is your downfall. And Gorgon is at least mad at this, even if she doesn't say the exact line. It might be possible that was like...
I said that they've done a lot of script adaptation. Like, I'll mention one that happens actually later on too.
Yeah, I think this was probably because they were doing a lot of action animation, so they needed to keep the scene flow tight.
Also, like as I said, they probably like no offense, they probably didn't want to just animate more Gorgon just for her to say lines about being angry about running on tails.
Right. They could have. They easily communicated that where she just insults Ushi and starts blasting her full. But misses everything. Everything misses.
Yep.
But so we're back at the wall, and Gorgon just busts out of there. She drops Ushi on the ground, having caught her in one of her snakes, because apparently when Ushi went in for the kill, that didn't work.
Nope.
And everybody's just like real upset. She completely tanks the Dingears. They do literally nothing. And then she just goes crazy. She's just a Pink Floyd laser light show, and just blows the fuck up out of this wall. We talked about sound design earlier. There's a great thing they added in a couple of the spots where they add a bubbling sound effect. So you don't see it, but you can tell from the audio cues that, like, her beams are so hot, they are melting the stone, literally. So Gorgon fucks everybody's shit up, and she's just like, yeah, it's super pointless. You're all gonna die, nerds. I'm gonna eat you. It's so sad. Look how worthless you are. And then the gates all roll open, and one guy's like, no, it's not worthless. And Leonidas and his fucking ghost Spartans roll up out of the gates.
Motherfucking Molon Labe.
Yeah, Molon Labe, which for those of you who are not students of history, that is a famous laconic response given supposedly by King Leonidas to Xerxes, Emperor of the Persians, when he was like, lay down your weapons, and Leonidas responded, Molon Labe, which means literally, come and take them.
Yeah, most literal translation is "have come take," but you know what?
Yeah, you would, for purposes of our English grammar, you would adjust that to be "come and take them." Yeah. So these guys are shouting that to Gorgon, who is huge, and they clonk, rattle some spears. This is a really good effect. Really highlights how cool Leonidas is, because his animations are not that cool in game. So his ghost Spartans throw all their spears. Those also do fuck all. Like, Gorgon at least protects her soft, squishy body with her non-squishy parts. Boy, is she squishy. But,
squishy.
But they mostly do nothing. But then they all fucking run up and slam down into the shield wall like it's fucking 300. And, we actually get to see Leonidas do his NP. Strikes the thing, makes a fire, Thermopylae and Mattia. And he creates just a big wall of shields.
It's great, too, because at that moment, Gorgon decides to go full on with fucking snake lasers.
Yeah, she's a little annoyed, because they didn't really hurt her, but they're pissing her off because they're in her way. So she goes, she yells at him to turn to stone and goes full-blown eye beams. They do some really interesting effects with her when she's using her mystic eyes. They kind of, like, do some, like, literal moon runes and weird shit in there. That's cool. Mm-hmm. Also, by the way, in case you're curious, why was Ushi not blasted when Gorgon, like, turned to look at her? It's probably because she's fast, but also riders are one of the classes that inherently get magic resistance. So, yeah. That's probably why she was okay to cut through the Mystic Eyes beam. But yeah, so, I think we've talked about Leonidas' lore powers. So, technically, his Noble Phantasm does only allow him to stall. Right? It's a defensive Noble Phantasm, but technically the legend is that he loses at the end, but he wins the war. Which is basically what happens. So Gorgon is going full-on beams. His, the shields, like, pop one by one.
It's a great effect, honestly. Especially when
this whole sequence is great. Like, there's very minimal action, but just so much.
Well, you just see the intensity of Leonidas just, like, struggling to fucking stand there as he weathers these fucking beams.
And just like we said, sound effects are great.
Like, his spear will come up a little, and he'll just, like, be, and just, just put it back in.
Part of his collar starts to turn to stone, which arguably is what's happening to the shields. They're turning to stone and shattering.
Yeah.
But his little bubble effect gets small, but then he, like, digs in and is like, nope, I got this, as his helmet comes off for the dramatic face reveal. Gorgon is like, who the fuck? Who the fuck is this guy? Who dares? She's really confused that because she trash talks Ushiwaka as just a familiar summoned by a human. She trash talks servants.
Well,
earlier.
Yeah, but the fucking helmet comes off, reveals his face, which actually has interesting implications as far as servants go, because a lot of servants will actually go to lengths to actually hide their identity and stuff.
But he used his noble phantasm, so that's cat's out of the bag. So he's like, hey, I'm a descendant of Hercules, son of Zeus, king of the Spartans, a country which Ares praised. I'm Leonidas. And Gorgon is immediately like, Zeus? Nani? Like, there was definitely an interrobang in there.
And of course Leonidas was all like, I have discovered your identity, and lays down to the fucking detective lore while getting blasted with snake lasers.
Right, he's still standing there taking it because his bubble gets bigger, his willpower rallies. But he's like, so I've never heard of Tiamat using mystic eyes, and our god Zeus. Thus, there's only one evil snake deity who petrifies people I know of. All of the Greeks know that creature. The monster who was betrayed and corrupted, Gorgon. And she's like, don't you say my name. Because he says Avenger first. I've figured out your true identity, which is a big deal. This is a very Fate fight.
Oh, yeah.
There's a big, scary, big boss lady Avenger, and, Leonidas busts out his noble phantasm, says who he is, but he's like, but I've determined your true name. So he tanks everything until basically she runs out of juice. She can't keep it up. She's too freaked out or used too much magical energy, whatever. And Leonidas finds a little gap to throw his spear as, she's on her last legs and flies all the way through, punches through her gut. Doesn't really seem to phase her too much.
Well, she ran out of juice, but before that, all his shields broke and he had to use his own shield.
Yeah, he used his own shield to tank the blow, which...
The last of it, yeah.
Which explains the thing that happened, because he starts turning to stone fully, because that's the thing. His shields could protect him from the physical heat of her blast, but because he's a newer servant, he's more recent, and he doesn't have any legends about it, his inherent magic resistance is pretty low, and his noble phantasm does nothing to protect. He explains this in the script normally.
Yeah, in the script, yeah, but this is one of the things they kind of skip. I can understand why they don't really need to go into details of why.
No, you understand why. Is they did enough with the animation to show, not tell. That's what the visual novel parts of FGO have to do. They have to tell you, because they can only show you in very specific snapshots. So
yeah.
So he's turning to stone, but she's like, Gorgon tries to shit talk him a little bit. She's like, you're gonna die like a dog, and he's gonna no, I'm a hero, and he smiles as he gets turned into a statue. And then,
I wouldn't say necessarily shit talk. She says,
she once again tries to reiterate that it's worthless. She's like, you're a cool guy. It's all right that you get to die without seeing me extinguish humanity, but you're still gonna die here, and that sucks for you. And he's like, nah, it doesn't suck, because even if my body goes away, humanity, like my soul, is immortal. And he smiles. And then I think we get our first official servant death. He despawns with the effect.
Gold particles.
And so then, but despite the huge hole which is visible in her gut, Gorgon is not phased. She's like, I've had worse. But this gives Ushiwaka her second wind. And she does something pretty cool. She starts her NP chant. It's like, what is it? On the Goryeo Bridge in the capital, there stands the man Benkei.
And she does, well, first she fucking just cuts the fucking battlefield of its stone petrification.
Yes. Now it's subtle. I'm wondering if maybe there was some Merlin magic afoot.
I don't know,
because her sword started to glow like Anna's scythe did last episode, and then when she does the shadow clone part, there's pink puffs when she does that. So I'm wondering if that was Merlin's illusions. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm kind of because she uses the Wandering Tales of Shinano. What was it? Part 2, the Dano Ura 8-boat leap.
No, that's 4. But 4? The thing about the leap is she doesn't create after images with that. It's though she can do that. It's a Tengu thing she knows as Summer Ushi. So yeah, it's unclear.
It's unclear. Honestly, I'm kind of wondering if because I don't know. I was actually trying to look for Ushiwakamaru's maps profile to get some explanation of what actually the 8-boat leap does.
Yeah, I looked this up. So, at least according to the wiki, which is presumably translated from her mats, the basics of tail number for the 8-boat leap is it dramatically increases her jumping power, because it's from the legend of Ushiwakamaru, Yoshitsune jumping Yeah, Battle of Den no Ura, which is a naval battle, jumping from ship to ship to strike the enemy. So basically, it super amplifies her jumping power, and so long as there is a foothold, she can land and jump from there to make a killing strike. So the range doesn't matter, the distance or anything doesn't matter. If it is possible for her to stand and jump from there, she will make the leap and strike the enemy.
Well, see, the way I was thinking about that in more of a more medical physical sense is her Noble Phantasm always gives her the opportunity to strike her enemy.
Yeah, I think that theoretically, if there wasn't a spot to jump from, she couldn't, but yes, that's basically it, is when she activates that power, she can make a leap of any distance at any speed to reach the enemy and strike them.
Yeah, so
she will not necessarily hurt them, obviously. It's not like a sure hit Noble Phantasm, but it is the idea that she will jump up there.
And that's what, that was my thinking of the clones, is that she needed the clones to actually make it to her target, because...
Yeah, it's possible, I don't know. And they do swap swords sometimes, so I'm not sure. Yeah. I don't think that was a thing she normally does, but like I said, the summer version of her, which has more Tengu bullshit, can do, shadow clones and stuff, so I don't know. Yeah. But basically, Ushi gets another whole 5 fucking minutes of beautiful animation, as she just...
Her just fucking running the fucking snake,
Yeah, she closes the distance, jumping, running, killing the shit out of Gorgon's snake hair, which Gorgon can just make more. Her hairs just bind back together into her weird snake beams.
If Ushi Wakamaru ever gets an animation update, I want them to add the fucking spinning wheel attack she did at one point.
Yes, at one point, as she's getting close, she just does a fucking spin, which is a thing she does, and just turns into a buzzsaw and scoots down one of those. But yeah, this is just a long sequence of Ushi going full out, cutting down snakes, jumping. Some of the clones get beat up and caught, and then she goes in for the final strike with everything she's got. This is the treasure of the Genji family, Genji clan.
Mm-hmm.
There's sparks fly off Gorgon, everything great. There's a huge explosion. Oh shit, Gorgon's fine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I kind of feel that Ushi Wakamaru knew that was happening, because she says farewell, but she doesn't say farewell to Gorgon. She says farewell to Fujiwara Dono. So,
yeah, which could just be that she knows that she's using the last of her magical juice to this, because she's doing 2 Noble Phantasms back to back after she got her ass kicked in between.
Mm-hmm.
Though also this is important, because we talked about this earlier, what motivates her, because Leonidas says that thing about the human spirit. Ushi's talk with Fujimaru comes back, because she's like, this child from 1,000 years in the future knows my legend, I will fight.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's literally describing how her experience work. No, this motherfucker from the future remembers my story and thinks I am cool, thus, I'm really fucking cool, Gorgon, I don't know about you. And she is. She's real cool. But Gorgon is fine, and in fact, she's better than fine. She's even better than she was 5 minutes ago. Her huge injury from Leonidas is healed. And they're like, is it because she's a goddess? And it's the answer in the text is kind of ambiguous, because she's glowing, and Mash is like, no, say hi, the Holy Grail. But Gorgon is also like, but I'm not really using the excess magical energy from the Holy Grail. So, it felt kind of like it was a weird exposition point that we have to, be clear that Gorgon's got the Holy Grail, but also she says she's not using it, so which is it?
I don't know. Yeah, that was a bit confusing to me, too.
It's weird. But it's how it is in the story, too, because that's the thing. Gorgon's got multiple things going for her. One, she's an Avenger, normally. She's a really scary powered-up form of Medusa. 2, she has Tiamat's authority right now. So she is a divine spirit that has all of the... in D&D terms, she has all the portfolio and powers of Tiamat.
Mm-hmm.
And 3, she also has a Holy Grail. She has the King of Mages' Holy Grail. So, there's a lot of reasons why she could be Billy Badass. And the anime isn't necessarily clear on which one it is, and I don't remember. Do you remember from the actual text of the event which it was? Or is it similar?
No, she said the same thing.
Oh, okay, so it's the same text, so it's just
yeah.
She's just, reverse Worf affecting, she's just bragging. Well, I don't need the extra magical energy. So she starts to get ready and be like, I'm just gonna bust through this wall and take over Uruk right now. And then Kingu's like, whoa, Mom. We don't need to do anything. Think about this, okay? Think very carefully. The 2nd generation of demonic beasts will be ready in a week. It doesn't matter. The humans are nothing. You can take care of them anytime. But if you take over Uruk, then the alliance is over, and those other goddesses are going to get serious. We need to make sure our troops are ready. And Gorgon is like, Yes, son, you are right. I can crush you anytime. But know this, humans, 10 dawns from now, I will destroy Uruk. Which is what we said, this is the ticking clock. We'll see next episode if they actually go for the so many days remaining effect, because they don't explicitly do it, but she does give her ultimatum, and then she just fucking disappears into the ground.
I heard actually somewhere that this week's episode is going to be a recap?
No, I think those are later. There are 2 recaps in December, but I think those are later in the year. Those are basically the weeks of like Christmas and New Year's are going to be break weeks.
Okay.
Which are not, technically those aren't counted as episodes, so I don't think they count against our 21 episode limit.
Oh, maybe that's why there is only 21 episodes.
Because they're labeled as recap part 1 and recap part 2, not episode whatever. So,
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, they're going to do an act break. So she fucks off underground, and then Kingu drops right next to Fujiwara, and is just like, sup?
Let's chat.
Let's have a talk. And he's like, man, she's real troublesome, but you can't pick your parents, right? You're stuck with your parents. And Ritsuko's like, the fuck, dude?
I'm gonna punch you. Horribly.
He's like, don't worry about it. And so, is it Merlin who actually raises the point, like, hey, so what do we call you? Because you're clearly not Enkidu.
I believe so, yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm Kingu. Which Romani is like, Kingu? Exclamation point, question mark. Possibly a second exclamation point. That's, he says that's the name of the god who led Tiamat's children. It's like, yeah, okay. So he's like, I am the prototype. I am the origin of the new humans who will take over after you guys are gone. So, be thankful I saved all your lives just now. But we're also totally going to destroy all of you and replace you. So, get fucked, nerds.
Kingu out. Whoosh.
I must go now. My mother needs me. And he just screams out. So I think the next scene is inside the wall. Or is the next scene at the temple? I don't remember the order, even though I just watched this.
No, it's inside the wall, because here we go again with, slight differences in between game and anime. In the script, Fujiwara the master, I should say, is feeling the depression, and Merlin's just all like, oh, you feel this now? Well, look around you. And that's when all the people on the wall are like, shit, fix everything! Fix everything! That's what Leonidas would tell us to do, stack Brits is the simplest thing that anyone can do, but it's important overall. In the anime, though, everyone's all like, shit's fucked! And then they see, Fujiwara put the fucking brick in the wall, and they're like, right, yeah, that's what Leonidas would do.
Yeah, they kind of changed up the order, which I think works, because there's a little bit of, they show, bodies on the ground, the wall is ruins, there's a little bit of focus, which is like, the humans are a little bit like, man, this sucks. Captain Leonidas is dead, man. He was the best. Or, they're not quite, done, but a lot of them are like, man, this sucks. They're a little depressed. And Mesh and Merlin have a little bit back and forth. Benkei talks to the master and is like, excuse me, I am Benkei. I don't change my tone of voice, but I'm gonna fuck off now because I failed. So, bye.
Again, I don't think this was actually, properly explained in the...
Yeah, I think he just... says off. That he just fucks off and says that he's going, and then Merlin comments because he sees all. Oh, that's gonna suck. Benkei's gone.
Yeah, but actually in the anime, they actually explicitly explain it's he's not the real Benkei.
Right, they tell the servant Benkei's backstory.
Yeah, he's just a monk who witnessed the end and decided to pass on his legends and deeds. But he was originally, he did not. He only stood by and watched. He's like, I have failed my lord a second time. He's like, I'm out. I
must go into the hills now and die or something. And so they're sad, though, obviously.
Die a nameless death in the ditch fighting fucking demonic beasts.
Though, obviously, if he, as another Bronze Lancer, if he had any nuts, he could be at least half as cool as Leonidas. But no, I'm gonna fuck off and die. Okay, thanks, bye, Benkei!
You had so little lines!
You're such an extra in this fucking story. Why do people like you again? But yeah, so there's a little bit of, and after that there's a little bit of Mash Merlin dialogue where, Merlin kind of explains that, yeah, I totally understand Benkei, and Mash is like, dude, come on. He's like, what? Anybody could understand that guy. He feels bad about stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm an asshole, but I'm not an idiot. And then he's like, he points over to Ritsuko who's at the wall, and he's like, listen, look, it's not over yet. It's fine. And he, slaps with the command steel hand, slaps the brick back and says Leonidas' speech, make a line of bricks, it's the simplest thing to do. And then, like you said, that revitalizes everybody. They're like, yeah, we're gonna rebuild this wall back. Which I think, once again, talking about show don't tell, as the player, you might feel bad that Leonidas has just died and Ushiwaka has just died, but not really, as we'll find out in a second. But, like, you got your ass completely kicked in story. So as the player and as the player character, you might feel a little bit down. So it's the natural part of the game to be like, no, don't worry, they're still in this fight.
Yeah.
But in the anime where Fujimaru is kind of their own character, we've talked about this before with, like, the flashbacks and the PTSD and stuff, they're trying to give the master actual character. So it makes sense for them to have the, like, resolute moment, stand up, put the brick back, and kind of, like, lead everybody, because we've been making a big deal of how important they are in the anime without really showing why or how.
Yeah.
Right? You know, quite frankly, other than reinforcing and healing Mash occasionally, the master is fucking useless, even though he does push-ups. Which is pretty typical of FGO anyway, but it has to be through actions you have to show that, like, no, this is the last master of humanity. This is the guy who's gonna punch Geichi in the face, you know, in a couple of weeks.
Man, if I don't... Like, people talk about that, you know, Time Temple OV. I'm all like, don't you get my hopes up.
Yeah,
How dare.
Something. And, by the way, I'm not kidding when I say weeks. That's literally... Babylonia was like, what, like, first... You know, like, ended in the first week or two of December, then it was Christmas, then it was Time Temple. It was literally, like, 2 weeks off.
Yeah, no, it was, like, because they did the, like, I actually was reading the thing, it was actually interesting, like, basically, when you got back from, Babylonia, apparently, like, whatever, like, apparently you were outside of time and space, and once you get that last grail, you started converging on, the regular timeline to the end of the year. So, even though you might have, like, because they start tossing around terms like, you know, quantum time lock and, you know, coming back into normal space. So, even though, like, it was, like, 2 years in game, like, it only took a year from, year and a half. I don't know. Actually, I don't even know when.
No, I think it was, because that's the thing about once you actually beat Time Temple. You know, Da Vinci is like, hey, so just so you know, literally everybody is on the phone wondering what the fuck happened to 2 years.
Yeah.
But yes, you were outside of time and space, which is how you can even reach the Time Temple. Yeah. Which, as we know from the anime even, because that was in the cold open last time, is beyond time and space. The Temple Solomon. So yeah. And the way that works in if you don't recall in that story, audience, is that you basically ray shift all of Chaldea to physically touch Time Temple. And so they can ray shift you like 5 feet out of it.
Yeah, but it's like, speaking about like the potential Time Temple of Solomon, at some point, like, you literally do not have any servants nor mesh, and you just go fucking toe to toe with Gadia. So I really want a fucking, you know, Master versus Gadia, or I'm just gonna fucking cast magic and fucking punch you. Like, I don't know. I was like, that's always been my aesthetic with animes. I've always liked super intense moments of, you know, someone getting up when they really, even if they shouldn't. Which
happens a lot in this. We're gonna see some more of that. But there's one more scene before the ending credits, which is, Gorgon mentioned it earlier, but we get Spooky Pants, Temple Pandemonium.
The Blood Fort?
Yeah, the old Blood Fort, where there's some children, and Kengu's like, be gone, tiny children, I don't care. Which is very interesting for him. But, Ushi wakes up there, and she's like, oh, hey, not dead yet. Oh, hey, Kengu. At which, of course, Ushi, of all people, decides to sass that motherfucker. A lot of sass. So, Kengu's basically like, yeah, we're gonna turn you into an egg, basically. We're gonna turn your magical energy and body into a demonic beast.
Have fun with that.
Have fun with that. And she's like, ha, fuck you, nerd. That's cool.
I
love that. Because I know that's a really troublesome way to create more monsters, and that people must have fought you constantly. So he stabs her in the gut a little bit.
Yeah. Just, you know, claw hand. Just take it.
And you know, pulls her out of the wall and throws her on the ground, steps on her a little bit. It's very violent. And he's like, actually, you know the fuck what? I'm going to do something special for you, because you've pissed me off a lot. We're going to take a trip to see Mother, and I'm going to chuck you in the sea of life that surrounds her. In the era of Magecraft, this would be called the Mud of the Holy Grail, but it's better known as the Chaos Tide. Thus, firmly cementing the idea to any Fate fan that the Grail Mud is just knockoff Tiamat, in case you didn't know. That was heavily implied, but I don't remember from the original scripter that was literally what Kingu said to explain it.
No, he said it.
Okay.
I had to think about it, but yeah.
Yeah, but he's like, yeah, so gonna throw you in the thing. And there's a shot of Gorgon just chilling in a pool of grail juice that everybody should be familiar with. And then credits.
Yeah.
So that's not gonna come back to bite anybody.
Yeah, no. I was actually kind of curious to see if they were actually going to include the entire, corrupted Ushiwakamaru.
Oh no, they are. Nasu wrote this, and he wants you to die.
Yeah. So
only when you have felt true despair do you have his permission to die.
So this week's episode is basically going to be, as if we don't have the recap, this week's episode is going to be, let's report to the fucking king. That shit. And I don't know, I feel like they might be able to get all of Ishtar's arc in one episode. I feel maybe.
Yeah, they could probably do that. There'll be some discussion, exposition. He'll be like, go, and then it'll be actually go see her. There might be an action scene at the end where she gears up to shoot some shit, and then they're like, but before we do that, hey, we got some gems, and she's just like, what was that?
By the way, I'm reading. Do you remember what the fucking choice for the master is when you decided to show the gems? The exact line was "Mash, do the thing."
Oh, that's gonna be great. That's probably not gonna be how that's translated in Japanese,
right?
because I'm sure that was a localization.
Oh God. Just some of these moments, I'm like, I love the anime so far, but as I said, there's the one thing that's nitpicking me is I'm not getting the choices dialogue.
Yeah, and obviously it's an anime adaptation, so it couldn't be a one-to-one script adaptation either, especially because it's got a really fucking long script. That's probably why they do little stuff like cut out some of Leonidas' little exposition and stuff like that, because otherwise we're going to be here forever.
Yeah, later when they have to throw a fucking axe, Merlin's spell translated was, Arturia, time for dinner. So I'm just like, are they gonna do that?
If that's how that thing is,
it's like, oh my God, Babylonia, it's a lot to spare, but it has a lot of moments of brevity.
Yeah, so it'll be super interesting. But yes, we are. This is basically the climax of Act 1.
Yep.
We had the big fuck off boss fight scene. We had the no opening, kind of just jump into it, and so now we're gonna go down. Shit's fucked, Captain. And we're gonna build back up. We're gonna build allies, and we're gonna see how that goes. And we're probably only gonna get through the Ishtar stuff for sure before they take their recap break.
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember how many episodes I said it would be, but I'm pretty sure Ishtar is gonna be one. Ketz, I think I maybe said Ketz and Aresh might each be 2 or 3, but now that I'm more looking at how they're adapting the script. I'm pretty sure both of them are only going to be I'm pretty sure Ketz is going to be 2 and Aresh might only be 1.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they end Ketz, because we need montages and transfers and stuff, and because there's the thing with Aresh is there's also the subplot that Gil is dead, so it's we have to go through the whole thing and be like, no, dude, just go to the underworld, which might need flashbacks, and then they go there and do the thing, and then it's I don't know. Because they're really good at the action pacing, it's entirely possible some stuff will get moved around. Like I said, I'm picturing that if Ishtar is only 1 episode next time, it's going to be we're going to wind up for a big action scene, and then she's going to be like, "What, gems?"
What? Nani?
So yeah, we'll see how that goes. That'll be tomorrow, which I may or may not watch tomorrow. I don't know.
I'm gonna watch it tomorrow.
You probably will, but you have different sleeping than me. I said this before, usually by the time I wake up, everybody's seen it and is gushing about it, and that's just kind of I'll get to it later. It's okay.
It's fine.
There's no surprise. Anywhere. Whereas, usually with The Mandalorian, I don't know what it is, but that's people talk about it a little bit, but they don't go whole hog on it for a while, so I'm like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, let's write The Mandalorian. I love The Mandalorian right now, kids, by the way. It's great. It's past the 3-episode test. But yeah, so that's Babylonia. We'll continue to see where that goes. That took us about 30 minutes to do.
I like talking about it.
Did we talk more about the episode than the episode was? Probably. But yeah, so we'll see in there. We'll get some stuff out of the, we'll get some exposition stuff. I mean, in the show, and we'll keep working. All right, so we're basically gonna wind down now. Let's see. Next week's show will be recorded the 6th, so I don't know if we'll be done with it, but all of Salem will be out by then. Even if we're done with it, we might push off like a full discussion until the next week, just to be safe, like we usually do. But yeah, It'll start the 2nd, and the last available will be on the night of the 5th. Assuming that we don't have another fucking 24 hours of maintenance or whatever. Oh, Apple, unfuck yourself, please. Because here's the thing, like, obviously some people are like, oh, but when it goes up on the thing, it's like, why aren't they ready to flip the switch or whatever right away? Well, that's because that's complicated, but boy howdy, they'd be a lot more prompt if there wasn't this weird hang-up with the update not appearing and being confirmed in the iOS store. Android has no problem. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. I joked during the JP Madness, is like, so when does Sony start taking invade Apple HQ with Cybertrucks with miniguns? Because it's almost 2020.
Almost.
But yeah, so we'll see that. Let's see. So we'll have that. We'll see if there's any crazy new news about stuff. Let's see. We won't have anything new to talk about in JP yet, because Christmas won't be over yet. And we'll have to see if, like, Lost Belt, I don't know if it, based on the leak/datamine timetable schedule, whether it'll start right away on the 11th. I don't know. So we might have, like, a confirmed announcement if it's going to happen, but we'll see.
Maybe a CM. They might have a Twitter campaign.
Yeah, we'll see what they do.
They'll probably have whatever pre-campaign stuff going on, because they like to do that. Yeah,
they'll have some kind of announcement probably by a few days out. Yeah. Like, hey, this is happening soon. I should also point out that we're coming up on the end of another month, so it's it's talking about patron stuff. So there'll be a new month. There'll be a new poll for Teach Omega Sensei. We're gonna have 4 options, and if you support us on Patreon at the $5 and up level, you get access to these polls, which is great. I'm also touching my microphone a lot. I should stop doing that because it's wiggling. But we've got, what is the Moon Cell? What is a Grail War and how do they work? What is the FGO timeline? Because Lucky want to talk about this. And I think, based on some discussions I had, I think I can do this as a single topic. What is Magecraft/Thaumaturgy? But I warn you, that's probably going to be narrower than you think it is. But I think I can boil that down to a simple explanation, which is possibly self-referential. But I can, I can definitely explain what Magecraft isn't.
Do you want to throw in what is mystery along with in there?
That'll probably come up, because that's... Hey, spoilers, one of the rules of modern Magecraft and Thaumaturgy is that you can't... It's an artificial imitation of a mystery, so you can't create anything that didn't happen already.
Yeah.
So you can't create any new magics or mysteries. You can only copy old ones. But this came up because we were discussing some stuff and some rules, like literally Rule Breaker, which is an anti-Thaumaturgy Noble Phantasm. Which, yes, that does not undo other Noble Phantasms because those are not all Thaumaturgy. It specifically destroys Magecraft.
Contracts, stuff like that.
Yeah, and if there is an effective Magecraft on a person, it immediately ends that effect. That includes magically binding contract, but also buffs, curses, deep, other stuff like that.
The reason why it's so deadly on fucking servants is because servants are pretty much,
servants are made of magical energy, so it hurts them a lot, and also can sever their connections to the master, which allows them to stay in the world. So it's real rough. Yeah,
but otherwise, it's just a pretty cool knife.
Yeah. Now, obviously, being a servant, Medea can do some damage with it, but otherwise, it's just a knife.
Otherwise, she'd rather do cape lasers.
Well, if you could do cape lasers, wouldn't you rather?
I would totally do cape lasers.
Though we're definitely doing ancient Achaean laser beams right now. Medea has laser beams. Gorgon has laser beams. We'll see if Lost Belt 5 has some laser beams.
Yeah. Like I said, those servants, we're getting some interesting servants, Lost Belt 5.
Yes, if, I can say it. If the leaks are true, which they might be or might not be, is the first banner, I think the first banner is supposed to be Odysseus, who is supposed to be the Lost Belt Rider, which is very interesting. And it's Canis, who is an SR Lancer, which I believe Lucky predicted, supposedly. And then the second rotation of banners should be Lost Belt King Zeus, and Europa would be the woman.
That's Europa.
Yeah, that's supposed to, which that makes sense because they've teased her a little bit. Like talking about Medea, she's teasing Medea's mats because she has access to Talos, the greatest familiar, giant bronze mecha Talos. But also that leaves out a guy. You'll remember there's a fifth servant with like the olive branches and stuff, who's in a completely different pose from everybody else. So it's like, who the fuck is that guy? If there's only 4 servants on the banners, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what the details are. Because maybe that guy wasn't implemented yet, but we'll see how things go in the future. It'll be soon. It'll be super exciting. We'll talk about stuff. Lucky we'll put images in thumbnails. But yeah, I think that's about everything. So let's go ahead and wrap this up then, because I have packages to deliver still.
Lucky has beat it, but he's working on platinum.
But okay, then we'll do the usual outro. Hey, so if you watch this video on YouTube, give it a like if you liked it. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section down below, or you can hit up our Discord. That link is always in the description or on our channel page. And of course, if you're new here and haven't already, please subscribe to our channel to get all our latest videos. And even if you're already subscribed, considering that bell for notifications, so you always know when we post a new video or live stream or do anything weird when we premiere videos. We do stuff. And of course, like it says at the front of the show, consider supporting Patreon. You can access to it early. You get them in audio format for as little as $1 a month. You get access to polls at higher levels, etc. And it really helps us out, so consider that. I'll also throw out another shout out that until Wednesday, we are technically doing a quote-unquote Black Friday sale on our merch. If you go to our Teespring store, that link is in the description also, and use the code HOLIDAY20, you'll get 20% off, because I'm desperate to sell. So there's literally never been a better time. We'll see if that works. That's HOLIDAY20, all one word, all caps. And that's good until next Wednesday, I believe, 4th. Would that be Thursday? Is that Thursday? I don't know. Maybe it ends... No, the 4th is a Wednesday. Okay, so maybe it ends... Yeah, it ends there somewhere. Whatever. Anyway, everybody enjoy your Cyber Monday. Hope you didn't die on Black Friday. And we'll see you next week for more stuff.
You know what's killing me? This fucking Yoshi 5-5 level image is a fucking Raikou. How dare?